the forum. I'll be doing a brief presentation before the panel. And this morning, we noted some acronyms, or people are mentioning 3R, 2R. So our presentation this afternoon is how to become an ICANN accredited registrar. Again, in the discussion this morning, we mentioned a number where we don't have a big number, referring to ICANN accredited registrars. So briefly, this is what I'm going to talk about, how you can become an ICANN accredited registrar. So my name is Yaovi Atohoun. I'm from the DSC team from Africa. And then you'll see at the end of the presentation, my colleague Mukesh Shulani, who is in charge of this program of accreditation. So we'll try to respond to a question at the end, and you have his contact if you need more information about the process. So what we are going to cover, registrar within the ecosystem. So we'll try to understand the whole ecosystem. And then the benefits and consideration. So why do we want to become an ICANN accredited registrar? The application process, the fees, and then we have some time for some questions. So this is the ecosystem. 3R, 2R. So the 3R, we have the registry, we have the registrars, and then we have the registrants. So anytime you, in this discussion, we mention 3R, so we are referring to the domain name registry. We are referring to the second R is the registrars, and then also the domain name registrants. So this is what you will see on the board here. So in this session again, we are talking about ICANN accredited registrars. ICANN accredited registrars. So this is referring to the generic top level domain names. And we have two big categories of top level domain names, two big categories. So we have a category linked to countries, like BW for Botswana, BJ for Benin Republic, SN for Senegal. So these two character codes are the ISO code used by ICANN. So ICANN is not creating these codes. So recently, or some years ago, when we have South Sudan, the two character for South Sudan is SS. So ICANN use the SS for the top level domain of South Sudan. So these are the country codes. So this presentation is not about the country code top level domain name. So each country code top level domain registry has its own policy to accredit registrars. So our colleague from Bokra will tell us during the break how people are accredited. So in some countries, we have also accredited registrars by the CCTLD registry. But in this presentation, we are referring to the generic top-level domains representing the number category different from the country code. So until 2012, we had about 22 generic top-level domains. So there is a program at ICANN we call the new generic top-level domain program. So with this round, in the 2012 round, we have currently more than 1,200, more than that, new extensions. So we call them the generic top-level domain name. So within those, we have .africa, .cape town, .boutique. You have a lot of them. So also you have something we'll be talking about tomorrow. We have also what we call the internationalized domain names. So we have also some domain names that I cannot read because I don't know these characters. So these allow communities to use their own characters, their own scripts to use to register domain names. So we have ICANN here, and then the registry operators, they sign an agreement. So the registries, they are the entities who have the agreement to manage the top level domain. So if I take a country called the registry, we have only one registry. If we take a top level domain, we have only one registry. So the generic top level domain registries, so they sign an agreement with ICANN. So this is what we call the the registry agreement. So this is an agreement between ICANN and the registry. So we have also what we call, in our case of this presentation, the RAA, the Registrar Accreditation Agreement. So in this presentation, so the registrars, once they have the agreement, they are accredited, now they can go and talk to the registries, to various registries, to sign agreement with them. So once you are an ICANN accredited registrar, now you can go back to registries to sign agreement with them. Then you are able to register names under the TLDs. So in this ecosystem, we have also resellers. The resellers, they don't have direct contract with ICANN, and then they are working through ICANN accredited registrar. So, but when we mention the 3R, we are talking about the registry, the registrars, and then also the registrants. So the registrants are the parties who register the domain name. So briefly, this is how is the ecosystem of the domain name. So in Africa, for example, we have 11 ICANN accredited registrar, and we have some of them in this meeting. And then I hope that you have time to talk to them. There are some statistics also. I'm going not to present on detail on this one. I want just to point you that we have what we call a program, the marketplace indicator. So we have information about the marketplace on our website, ICANN website, where you can get more information. So I'm going to move to the benefit and consideration for being an ICANN accredited registrar. So the benefit is a reputation. So when you are an ICANN accredited registrar, you have a logo on your website. So people who go to your website, they see like this stamp or seal on your website. They know you have this reputation that you are an ICANN accredited registrar. So it's in addition something also adding to your own reputation, something special. So registry access. So you are part now in. You have access to the registries because when you are accredited by ICANN, now you can go to any registry, top level domain name registry, and talk to that registry, and then you can start working with them. Like in some countries, in some cases, we have country code registries. So they are ready to work with any company. So if you are an ICANN accredited registrar and you go to this organization, so they trust on you, more on you, and then they can do a business with you. We have also what we call the registrar stakeholder group. So it's a group through which you can also participate in many programs like a capacity building program. You have more information through this group. And also there are some ICANN events, outreach events, where the registrar, the accredited registrar, they have more option or facilities to be there. So what to consider if you want to be an ICANN accredited registrar? There are some fees linked to that one. There are some fees. There are also some compliance obligation if you want to become an ICANN accredited registrar. There is also contracts coming into it, and also reseller pricing can be very competitive. So we mentioned some of the requirements like CEO compliance certification. So every year you should be able to demonstrate that you want to be compliant, because it is very important for ICANN that any domain name register can work perfectly. So if this is something that will depend also on the way you are offering the service. So you must approve by signing and having an annual certification, compliance certification. You should be able 24/7 be able to get back to law enforcement, and in case there are some issues, so you should be able to respond on time. The data accuracy is also very important. So if you are an ICANN accredited registrar, you should have a policy that help you to ensure that the data provided by registrants are accurate. So people who you have domain names, generally you receive email or information request from the registrar asking to update or to confirm the information. And also you should be able to retain the data for some period for some reason. And then reseller agreement and enforcement. So these are things you should have in consideration. So there's something we call the insurance, an important amount some years ago, but this one is no more a requirement. So there was a long discussion between the ICANN and the community, and I can say that this request came mainly from registrars in developing country, or the community or the business people in developing country, and ICANN board understand this, and this is no more a requirement to become an ICANN accredited registrar. So the process. Now, you should have a business plan. So like any normal company, if you want to do something sustainable, serious, people mention business plan. So it's something that is you should consider if you want to become an ICANN accredited registrar. So we should have also operational and technical capabilities. So it doesn't mean that yourself you should have all this in your at your place necessarily. You have many companies today that can help you having this technical capability. So not really necessary that you need to have all this in your own buildings, I can say. So working capital is also something that I can want to see, that you have a working capital. That is also important. And then risk management and insurance is also important, as in any normal business. So the process, first you submit an application form to ICANN. So you submit that one. I can review the application. The department in charge of processing does some background check on the application, and after approval, ICANN will ask you to pay. There are some fees, and then what we call the RAA, Registrar Accreditation Agreement. You sign this with ICANN as a document. And there is also what we call, after the RAA, the escrow agreement. The data escrow are companies that are accredited by ICANN. We call them data escrows. So you should have a contract between an escrow company so that in case you disappear or something happens to your company, ICANN will be able to get this data on your domain name, and your domain name can still be working. So this escrow agreement is also a requirement. So the escrow company are not too much, but they have been selected, or they have received agreement from ICANN. So ICANN just sent out a call for companies who wanted to become escrow. So you have this company, you have the list of them also on ICANN website. And then once ICANN sign the agreement, it is announced to registries. Now you can go to any registry and then do business with the registry. So this is the way the process works. So the application fee is $3,500. That is the application fee. That is one-time fee. So to process your application, this is what you pay, $3,500 US dollars. So every year you have to pay an annual fee to ICANN as an ICANN accredited registrar. You pay $4,000 US dollars every year. So this is an amount also you pay to ICANN. And then also quarterly, you will also be paying about 1,000. It can be less than that, depending on some consideration. And then this is also addition to what you pay. So we have the application fee, we have the annual fee, which is 4,000, and then quarterly we pay as an ICANN accredited registrar, we pay about 1,000 US dollars. So anytime we have a domain name registered, 0.18 dollar goes to ICANN. So per transaction for registration, a renewal or transfer. So these are the main fees that are associated to ICANN registrar accreditation. So this is mainly what I want to share with you about ICANN accreditation. So as you can see from the presentation, and again linking to this morning session, we have 11 accreditations. So the number is not the most important. In some cases, I'm not saying that's not important. So if you want to become an ICANN accredited registrar, you have to decide. So if you just for the reputation, you have to decide. So but the reality is that starting from scratch to become an ICANN accredited registrar, you have to look at all these parameters. So this is why in the ecosystem you have some people who are reseller because they don't have all these requirements even to do this business. So Chair, I want to stop there, and then maybe we can take some few questions before the panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yaovi. A round of applause to him. Any question to Yaovi before we transition to the esteemed panel that we have here? While you are still, should I say, digesting? Okay, Abdul Monem has digested. Quickly.
Yes, this is Abdulmanam Galila for the record. My question about the data escrow. This is my first time, by the way, that I know that data escrow provider is somehow accredited from ICANN. So my question now. So in case if I am a registrar and I have a disaster and all my data is lost, so I can have the rights using data escrow to recover all the domain names and transfer these domain names to another registrar, or just give me a backup of this database again?
You as a registrar or a registrar? Registrant.
Registrar.
You are a registrar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Me as a registry, I own the data. So I have a disaster. And all my domain names are not available at the moment. So will have the data escrow from the data escrow provider for my domain name and give me a backup, or just transfer these domain names to another registrar and neglecting my registry?
Okay. First, if the registry, the domain name is linked to only one registry. So any domain name is linked to a registry, the top level domain. So we have only one registry for a top level domain. So if you are a registrar and for some reason, so your data collapse or something like that, this is why this escrow agreement is required in ICANN. So regularly, there are data between your organization as a registrar and the escrow company. So in case you disappear or something happen, ICANN will ensure that the data, the registration data for the domain name is still, for some reason, it can be transferred to another registrar. So the registrants could be, again, in a position to use his domain name. So the escrow is for security reason, in case the registrar, the registrant information, the registrar collapse or there's something in the data. I don't know if I respond to your question.
Yes. Why I ask this question, as in some countries in Asia, one of the registrar disappeared. I don't know why. And all the domain names, the registry can't do anything with these domain names for this registrar. Shall it be renewed, or it will be disappeared from the registry and the registrant will be lost with their data?
Maybe we can discuss more later, but the point is that once the registrar is operating regularly, there's a backup or transfer of the data to the escrow. So if something happened wrong, ICANN will ensure that the data are transferred from the escrow to another registrar. Thank you.
Any other question? Yes, Mohammed. Roaming mic. Maybe you can use, there are some on empty tables here.
Thank you, Chair. So I have one question for Yaovi. When I listen to your conclusion, you're just presenting these things as something very difficult to handle, and just even discouraging people from trying to become a registrar. So it's we don't want that message out of that meeting. So our challenge is a few years ago tried to have, like 2012, we're challenging our community to be 25. We're still 11. So when you come and say that if it is too difficult, so just keep being resellers, it's a little bit hard for us to listen to that message. So can you just...
Oh, I thank you, Alaji.
Can you just come back and say all the other barriers that have been removed to help people become easily ICANN accredited registrar, like the insurance and the different deposit for different registries and all this stuff. So I'm expecting you to change the tone of your conclusion. Thanks.
Thank you, Alaji. I'm not sure if this is the perception you got from my message. Not at all. Generally, when I do this presentation, I used to tell people that if we talk about roughly $10,000 US a year, is not a big amount in reality if you are doing business. And what I used to add is that for youth, for example, ready today to start, if you are like 10 people, if you are like 10 people in this company, so the message, maybe what I want to add at the end is that you can be together to do this business of accreditation, reseller accreditation. So that is one point. So don't see this amount of globally around 8 to 10,000 US dollar like a big amount. So, and then something very important, because we didn't have time to go through the detail. Some years ago, the registrar accredited in Africa, the amount we are referring to is 500,000 US dollars, if I'm correct. So that was the amount as a requirement, the insurance amount that was required. So you can see that we mentioned that it has been waived. So there is no more this requirement to become ICANN accredited. And then what I want to add also again is that I mentioned about equipment, and then you have a lot of companies today that can also help you to work on that area. So my conclusion is just to tell you that it's difficult, not at all. So the reason of having this presentation, we don't have a big number because of a lack of information also. So people don't know really how to become an ICANN accredited registrar. So we have also on the last slide, you have the contact of my colleagues. So I was so brief during my presentation, so we'll be around for 2 days. So please, we have also, fortunately, some people here, we can learn from them who are ICANN accredited registrar. If you go to ICANN website, you see Afri registrar in the room here. You see Professor Nico Eno, who is in the room here, and also Mohamed Diop. I think they can also give you some advice. So don't be afraid of the amount. Is something we expect. As you mentioned, in 2013, we wanted to grow to 25 accredited registrar, but it's not the case yet. But we are giving you this information to tell you that is something you can do. And I want to thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for Yaovi.